Peace, 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 fam. How is everybody doing? Peace and blessings to you. This is Oracle Deborah with the Oracle Deborah podcast on YouTube. I'm actually having a spa day today, but because I was playing around with my mic, ugh, the bag. Oh, look, and I only have one bag, which is so weird. I was testing out my mic and my lavalier here to make sure the sound was okay. Let me see if I can, yeah. Um, But I got my hair pressed out and um, it's growing very nicely. My hairdresser is very, very happy with my hair. He wants me to keep doing what I'm doing. Um, so yeah, and I told him not to curl it, just put it like a little bend in it, But my hair is literally like way down my back, which is very nice. Um, Someone in my family would be very happy to see my hair is growing out nicely. And it's a blessing at my age. So, like I said, I have to take some things. So, this is kind of like my son's spa day, basically. Um, and I'm just share with you some of the things I'm doing to maintain my health, basically. So, I have lemon basically all over my face, which I'm about to wash out in a few minutes to help tighten my pores. Um, I but I bought some Cetaphil foamy face wash because my skin is really sensitive right now, and I'm just really prone to dry skin, which is why I had an eczema breakout. I don't know if you can see that, like on both sides and under my chin. There was like it's like all in here. It's an eczema breakout. I've never had eczema before in my life. But apparently, two of the reasons that I looked up states that yeah, that's my dog. They'll be fine when they drive off, and I think they're about to drive off. Yep, they're pulling off. Okay, so he's like all clear. um, okay, so weird again is I didn't have the mic plugged in. I just can't. It's too many little nuances. When I want to play back, I have to pull the USB out. If I want to record, I gotta remember to put the USB back in. But so yeah, I had an eczema breakout, and that was not. I didn't know why my skin just all of a sudden broke out. The things that I noticed right away I had to do is because I have a water softener in my house. I had to get a water softener like 12 years ago, or yeah, about 12, 13 years ago, because um the water was so harsh that my legs were breaking out. I had spots, dry spots all over my legs. It was horrible. So I broke down and got a water softener, and then I had to pay a plumber to install it. And when I broke out, I guess it was late last year, the beginning of this year, um, the salt was low. And not only was the salt low, but I had bought a cheaper brand of salt because, everything had just risen the prices exponentially. And I noticed it didn't work as well. And the fact that it was running low and not working that well just did not work out well for me. So I thought, so that was a key thing to get the moisture back in my skin. I also was drinking a lot of coffee, and they buy in my job they buy from Staples. So sometimes, a lot of times, I think I don't know how old some of this stuff is because I've had to throw teas out that I bought, and I was like, this don't taste right. So I think it's stored there maybe a little too long, but I mean, I didn't really want to try the McDonald's coffee they bought from there, but it really was good. And they had a decaf version because I only drink decaf. So I was very happy with my decaf coffee, but I think that added to the problem. What else? And I think I probably was just snacking on like popcorn with just salt. So, I'll throw that in there. It was just a lot. And I found out that you can have a protein deficiency, and that will also create an eczema breakout. So all those facts. So I took the coffee out, um, and went back to my teas again because I've never been a long-term coffee drinker. It's always affected my skin in some shape, form, or fashion. I bought the salt. That was the first thing I did. I bought the salt for the water softener and put that baby in there, and my face was starting to feel normal. The problem now is that the eczema breakout, which I caught it in time, and let me tell you how I stopped it because everything I was putting on my skin wasn't working. I put castor oil directly on my skin, and my skin was still scratchy and itchy. It was a flare up. It was an eczema flare up. That didn't work. I broke down and put Vaseline on it. That didn't work. I had other oils in my house I put on there. They didn't work. I didn't know I had cocoa butter down in my cabinet because if I did, I might have tried that, but I didn't know I had it. I just found that like maybe a week ago. But nothing worked. So I had some corticoid, how do you pronounce corticoid steroid cream? Um, which, I stay away from the steroids, but I did have the cream from when I had bought it, not too long ago, but some time ago for some other flare up I had. And I put that on my face because, like I said, none of the oils, the castor oil, nothing was working. I put the corticoids, I don't know if I'm saying right, corticosteroid, whatever. I put that on, like all over my face, and that stopped it too. So I think I did that. And then when my salt came in, I filled the softener with the salt, and then that helped. But that corticosteroid really calmed it down. When I did some research, they did mention that, like that could be one of the things. Okay, here we go with the dog again. My neighbor's siblings bought a new car, and I think everybody's buying a new car, and they're really excited about it. So, but anyway, so the steroid cream calmed the inflammation down, the flare up down. I don't know where it came from, honestly, but I'm in astrology. And so there probably was some transit going on that was going to cause some skin issues because I've looked, especially in I'm sorry, they're almost going back in the house. Golly. Sorry, folks. I'm trying to get them to be quiet. Like park the car and go in the house. Um, because my dog does his job very well, as you can hear. Um, so the cream like stopped the intensity of the flare up. So that stopped the intensity and calmed everything down. It stopped the dryness from increasing. Okay, I think this is the last person. Gosh, they just had a new baby and family is coming to visit. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, I left the door open, so um, so yeah, the cream absolutely halted the flare up in its tracks so that moisture can stay in my skin. And then I got the salt. I put that in the water softener, so that helped. And then it was really too late, but I went out, I bought tea tree oil. I have carrier oil. I bought some carrot seed oil. I did my little research, I put this stuff together, and I was using that on my skin. But I feel like at that point, I had stopped the flare up. And so the oil was just too much at that point. Even, I didn't put essential oils directly on my skin. I used the carrier oil. So now I'm dealing with the the full blown blemish. You can't see it here. I don't know if you can see it here. Let's see. I think you can see like this. It looks like a little gray area right in there. And then it's under my chin. And then it's right along the side here. I have like one big dark patch here. And then it's spotted on this side, I think. Yeah. Now this side is the most flared. Can't tell because of the lighting, but it definitely looks gray up in there. And I think this is the side, yeah, with that little patch right there, and then it's kind of spotted in here, but it's all up underneath my chin, all this stuff. And when my skin blemishes, it never goes away. I mean, I literally have a burn mark here. And you can see that little spot right there. That happened almost 15 years ago, and it's still there. It's still there. It's like it just will never go away. I wonder if I put that light on, you'll be able to see. Yeah, you're not going to see any better. So I don't really see the need for the light because I love natural light. So that's the deal. So that's why I've been like focusing on my skin and also cleaning up my diet again. Um, because I am like pescatarian, but I was veganish. I was more like plant-based. And then I realized that the meat I was eating was not made of plants, but just made in a plant. And over time, it started giving me high blood pressure too. So I didn't have a substitute. And I just went back to, eating more carbs or, just stuff I just stayed away from for 3 years or so. Not junkety junk, but healthier junk. And some of the junk wasn't as healthy, like potato chips, stuff like that. So yeah. So I had to do all of that. And I don't know why I'm doing this because I got this limit on my skin. But let me take this hair off my face. So that part. Like I said, I got my hair done yesterday, which you can see is very beautiful. So that part's done. I've been doing my own nails, but I've been using a nail polish that's not very thick and it's very difficult to dry as well. So I've been doing and redoing and redoing and redoing my nails to try to get it to perfection and my toes, which is ridiculous. So a mini pedicure, mini manicure. Um, what else? I've been doing some changes in how I eat during the day. I won't go into details about that because it's like the universe is like, don't say too much about a lot of the things that I'm doing, but I've made some changes in that. And that's helped because if you look back at my videos in December, I was quite bloated. Um, and the only reason why I don't look thinner in my face is because I had a lower back and Achilles flare up, and I just couldn't I just can't. I couldn't exercise. I can't really. I'm left to walking, and not even long distance walking or anything like that. I can't do any of that. So I'm probably going to have to go to the doctor and see about my Achilles to make sure there's no permanent damage there. They may end up putting me in a boot. I don't know, so that it will have time to heal because it's not healing. And I injured my Achilles because I was trying a new stretching technique. So it's really frustrating when you're trying to move and stretch and do things and, you end up injuring yourself in the process. So for me, everything is gentle at my age. Everything should do it in gentleness. Don't go hard, don't go strong, no hit, none of that stuff. Be gentle with my body. So, um, but I need to sweat. That was the other thing about the eczema. You have to sweat a lot. And because I've not been exercising, doing cardio, things like that, I'm not sweating. And I think that too contributed for sure. Like it was like a contributory thing that just resulted in a eczema flare up. So if you're not sweating doing cardio, which I was, the cardio, heavy cardio, which I always did, turned out not to be good for me because I was losing too much muscle. So you see, it's like a rock and a hard place. But these are the nuances of the body, and you have to try and test and try and see what works, not works, and try and strike some harmony um, with your routine in your body. So um, it would be nice to do cardio once a week, to be motivated to do cardio once a week. But like I said, I've been injured for I've felt injured probably for the past month or so. And then before that, you may not know, I had to retake my real estate pre-licensing and the state exam. And like I had to do all that. And that was 5 weeks of sitting, and that exasperated things. So it was just like one contributory thing after another that led me to where I am today. But let me just thank my body for taking care of me as much as and as great as it is. Okay. It's not the best. Um, I definitely need to work on some things, but I don't want to overlook how hard my body works to keep things functioning well. And I'm really grateful to my body. I got a notification about that a couple of days ago, and I was like, yeah, I never thank my body for what it does do well, what it does do right, and all that other stuff. So I'm grateful to my body. Okay, so put that out there. Be grateful for your body and thank your body for the great work that it does to keep you healthy, okay, and to sustain you through things and routines and activities and dietary whatever and movement or no movement or too much movement or not enough, like whatever. Like just thank your body that you're still here and you're able to function and get up and, you know, get dressed yourself or whatever. And even if you can't dress yourself, the fact that you're still here, that's your brain is part of your body. Thank your body. Just thank your body. Be grateful for your body and thank your body. So that part. And then what else? I don't know. I just feel like these transits, like Neptune has moved into Aries and it's in my fifth house. I got planets that are shifting and they're moving into my fifth house, and that's giving me a lot of reprieve. It's opening some channels for money to come in again. Um, I have been focusing on the Machiavelli concept. Like that seems to work for me. So I've been using those principles to get my life back on track the way that I wanted it on track. My life was on track, but I wasn't getting the results that I needed. But it's something about this Machiavelli precepts that work for me. And they work very well for me. And so I keep that at the forefront of my mind. And I know it's these small steps. And also these Machiavelli precepts teach you what the process looks like. Because as much as I love my generation, Gen X, we did turn out to be the microwave generation. And we became the throwaway society. Microwaves came around. Paper towels were used more. Everything was, you don't have to fix it, just throw it away and buy a new one. That was that generation that came around. Now, whether we were the ones I don't think we were the ones that did it. It just came out during our generation, and we end up being the microwave generation. Not because we chose to do it or we're old enough to come up with these concepts. This is the boomers again, you know, and brought things into play during our teenage years, which caused us to be, the microwave generation. And so a lot of us didn't learn, we didn't get to master the process of what that looks like and how important it is. So the Machiavelli principles teaches you how to live life more in harmony with yourself, your conscious self and your higher self, right? To keep you grounded, but also to like not think, let me do this big thing and get the results and move on. It doesn't work that way. It's time to wash this stuff off. It's like do little things consistently, little things that probably don't seem like it means anything. It seems like this is of no consequence. It's those things that that's so little and it takes so little time to do, but it does take a little effort and consistency and intention, to do. But it's because it's so small, the task is so small, it makes it easier to do it every day. It makes it easier to be consistent. It makes it easier to commit. And because of that, these small committed steps every day, intentional steps, you'll get these small wins. You're like, huh. And then you keep doing it and you go, oh, I got another small win. You know, like I said, I made changes about how I eat during the course of the day. And I just knew that when I started to do this, which I think is going on, I don't know, 10, no, not that long, 6 weeks maybe, that I was going to make it my lifetime ritual. I decided because anything else I did in the past, it was like, this is temporary till I do this. And then I just go back to doing what I was doing. So I decided this ritual was going to be my lifetime ritual. And I have committed to it very much like I committed to being veganish, okay, and cleaning up my diet and being more plant-based minded. Um, and so there was a blouse I had bought, but when I bought it, I didn't realize I had bought it a little too small. And by that time, I was bloating. It was during the holidays, and I was I had some a little inflammation going on there, and some weight gain going on there during the holidays, and I absolutely could not do anything with this bodysuit, that I had bought. It was really cute, matched a pair of shoes that I bought, and then a couple of days ago, I was, getting ready for it. I said, well, let me try it. Let me see, I wasn't even trying to see if I lost. I knew I had lost a couple of pounds, but only because it was probably more water weight or just inflammation and, salt or whatever in my diet and sugar. Um, but to my surprise, before when I couldn't even put the snaps in place, I couldn't even get it to reach, I just couldn't, it was just too small. Like I had like 2 inches or more of extra material, and it was very easy to snap. And I was able to wear my blouse that day, so which was really odd. I did not expect that. So me being committed to just making this change as my lifestyle and committing to it, that was the ultimate surprise that I got. So, and that's what Machiavelli teaches us. I later learned that Tupac was into Machiavelli, and I see why. I see why now. Um, so if you've not heard of Machiavelli, get the book The Prince. I still haven't read through the book or even listened through the book yet. Um, but it is a great concept. And like I said, these are precepts that seem to work perfectly for me, for who I am as an individual, my astrological makeup. It is very much in harmony with that. it balances the areas that where I need, where there are shortfalls or shortcomings or weaknesses. It balances that. It brings it back into harmony with my higher self. So yeah, so those are some of the things that I'm doing. So the Machiavelli concept, I'm working with the eczema and trying to clear my skin out. Um, I will be focusing on my gut again, because um, things like kefir and sauerkraut, which I've always loved sauerkraut, and I never knew why. It's always been great for my gut, but I only ate sauerkraut with hot dogs, and I started eating hot dogs many, many, many moons ago. And the vegan hot dogs are not vegan, they're more soy. So yeah, so I just have to eat the sauerkraut and like just it's like I'm eating to live, as the Muslims have this book called Eat to Live. It's kind of like that. It's like your little fruit, some vegetables, some salad. Make sure you have some sauerkraut, some kefir in your gut that day. Um, but I'll tell you one thing about me changing the routine in my daily eating habits is I don't have the cravings for sugar as I used to. Like I needed, especially when because COVID really made me aware that um, it was the sugar that was getting to people. Like, and I knew when I had a sugar craving flare up that I was at risk of getting COVID. And as a matter of fact, when I finally did get COVID, I was dipping and dabbing in some pastries and things like that. And that's a warning sign for me, when I start getting those types of cravings. Okay. And they're daily and almost all day, every day, and daily. So I still get my little sweets in with like maybe a trail mix. But I bought a dark chocolate bar a few weeks ago and it disrupted my sleep and it just didn't work for me. So I just said, I'll just try to avoid that. Um, I don't even have to avoid it. Like I just realized it didn't do anything for me but disrupt, it took me out of harmony. Um, so yeah. So I'm doing some great things, some sixth house things, to get my life and my confidence back. Like I feel more confident, even if I'm not in a perfect state. Like, I'm still working with facial hair. You get older, you get facial hair. I'm still working on how to get that out the way and, little whisker things come up, I'm just I'm just being real. Like women start getting the whiskers and they become, it's like the gray hairs, they they come in, they're wiry and all this stuff, um, so yeah, I'm just doing a lot of six house things and avoiding being triggered by enemies, because six house is your open or your is your open enemies, and just not letting them trigger me, and then using time and opportunity to say what I have to say and call it a day. You know what I'm saying? Like even yesterday, I was like in a situation where the person I was talking to, made a flippant comment about, how women are, how black women are, blah, 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 and how they just, and I was like, stop that. I said, because I am very good to you. I am a really good person and I have been very good to you. And I just put him in check. I was just like, stop. Because that's, you're not gonna, no, I just put him on blast. I was like, stop that. And I just said, I was like, I'm very good to you, you know, despite, the inconsistencies and the moodiness. And, I just don't allow people to trigger me. I've healed enough where I'm able to not be triggered like that or to control when I feel a certain kind of way, control my responses. And he was like, no, you're right. You're right. I can't put you in the bucket with all the others. And I didn't even say anything. It was just he had to admit that he was wrong. And he had to, say, no, 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 that you're right. You're right. And And I remember I just got quiet and, the TV was going and we were in a public place, but the TV was going and I didn't say anything. And when he saw I guess when he heard the silence, because we usually are chatty, he was like, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah." I didn't even realize that I had gotten that silent. I might have been going, my mind may have been going to a darker place, like kind of trying to slip there when he said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm okay." I said, "I'm in my happy place." And he thought that was the funniest thing. I mean, he chuckled that, I mean, he was so tickled by that. And I was like, okay. And he was like, okay, that was funny. And he was just so tickled by me saying that. And, it was nothing planned. I was just like, I'm in my happy place, meaning there's nothing you can say to me, right, that I'm going to allow you to um, trigger me. Now, like I said, my mind may have tried to go down that darker path, but I've programmed my mind now that when it starts doing that, it stops itself. Like I don't have to do the work so much anymore. I've retrained my brain, but my brain's like, oh no, we don't do this, and I'm like, you're right, we don't do this. So my brain is I've conditioned my brain. I've changed the program. I put in new programming. Let's put it that way. And this new program is like, oh no, we don't do that. Go down the dark hole and ruminate stuff. We don't do that anymore. And so as I got quiet, I just didn't even realize I got quiet. I just didn't feel a need to respond when he's like, "Oh, you're right, you're right. I can't put you in that bucket. Um, like or in that pool of the other women." I just didn't say anything. I just didn't feel a need to say that's how much I have healed. And the silence made him uncomfortable. I was very comfortable. To the point where he said, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "I'm in my happy place." And that, I mean, he was tickled by it for other reasons because it's something he says, which I later learned. It's something he says all the time. But for me, it was like, despite what you just said and how offensive it could have been, um, I I I know how to tap into my happy place despite those things. I know how to go there and it has nothing to do with you. Whether you're doing good and you say the sweetest things to me, or you say something that can be highly offensive. I know how to tap and go to my happy place. It's my happy place. You know? So, I mean, that was like a big thing, for me. And I didn't realize later that look at my shirt, good vibes. See? Um the little comments were made and I don't know, they could have been taken like, you know, I need to stick it to her or whatever, but it just but I was like responding in ways that I didn't even know that I was just letting him know, I see what you're doing. And like basically F you. I'm in my happy space. And it breeds respect. It breeds respect. And it's funny because I only see this person like we only like um get together and do something like publicly. It's always publicly. Um like maybe once every 3 or 4 months or something like that. And um I find that every time I drop a dime on him and his behavior, and I never say you are doing these things. I always keep it very neutral, but I always make it clear, like, and it's not that I can't be direct with him. I can be very direct, but when we're talking about conversations about relationships and how the state of how things are right now, I just say things like, as long as people don't feel um belittled in their relationships is fine. Like you can be yourself, but if a person is feeling, no one wants to feel, um, what's the word that I use? No one wants to feel demoralized or something I said, And I think that was there must have been a because he got quiet and that was like a wake up call. And then yesterday, he was like, because I want people to be happy with themselves. I don't want to be that person that does something that makes them feel, so whatever I said made him think about that, and I thought that's good, Um, but like I said, when you are healed enough, when you have done the work, the shadow work, um, you go to your happy place. No matter what's going on, all the chaos, the insults, whatever that's going on around you, you go to your happy place. And no one can go there. No one can touch you, and they could be right there in the room, right next to you. They can't touch you. That space, that happy place is like none other. It's like your own little private cove or island or, something um, that no one has access to but you. And like I said, you could be in a sea of insults and chaos and things like that. They can't touch you. And when you put those Machiavelli precepts into place, when you start practicing them, you know, you realize like how much power you really have. You have so much power and so much, and everything you do at that point does nothing but breed respect. The respect you have for yourself, the respect people have for you. They realize they're not dealing with some chicken head. They're not dealing with some low down, no good, nothing of a guy. No, they're dealing with an absolute empress or emperor. They realize that. And it's like a slow rollout. They know that there's something, but they're going to trigger you because I've met so many men. I've met so many women, and they all do this and they all do that. But this slow rollout, it's like every time there is an encounter, you you roll out a little bit more of yourself and who you really are. And it's like it becomes like I think I'm dealing with some kind of friggin' royalty here. I'm dealing I'm dealing with more than just a woman. I'm dealing with more than just a man. There's more to this person, to this being. And it makes me want to look within and examine my own self, my own actions, my own behavior, my own belief systems, my own conditioning, my own thought processes. Because I'm dealing with someone who just calmly deals with life in a certain way and talks to me in a certain way and communicates with me in a certain way. And even when I do some cruddy ish, I can't touch them. I can't trigger them because they just accept what it is that they see, and they might say something like, but I appreciate you for this other thing that you did. It's almost like killing someone with kindness, but I don't like to say it like that. I like to say is you are you are responding Machiavelli like. You're responding like an empress. You're responding like an emperor. And soon you'll have someone at your feet saying, what can I do for you? And these young girls out here, they're like, I want a man that makes this much money and drives this kind of car and does this and that. When you develop self-respect, develop it. It could be handed down, trained to you, but if you don't appreciate how you have what you have, or know how you got there, or why you are the way that you are, you know, it has less effect. It has less meaning. And most people end up going out on a journey and trying different things and realize, this is just me. This is just the way that I am. But now I know why I am the way that I am. So yeah, you just end up showing people they're dealing with a whole different breed of beyond humanness. And that's why it's so important with the Machiavelli precepts that you commit to these tiny, teensy, tiny little acts. Teensy, tiny. I mean, they seem so freaking insignificant that it's like, why am I even doing it? I want to go big or go home. That concept again is like, no. If you know what these athletes go through, have been through, and how long they've been doing it, this isn't a big go big or go home thing. This is a do what you can every single day, day by day. Commit to it, whether you're tired, whether you're hungry, whether you're this, whether you're that. Commit to that thing. I got to get this stuff off my face because it's been on there too long now. Um, and that's why people see them at their excellence, their high level athletes, you know. But you can be a high level person just by doing the same things. Mastery is just doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's just practice. So I gotta go, beloveds, because I'm getting stiff in my neck and I really don't know why. It's just kind of weird. Oh, I hate that feeling when I get stiff in my neck. So I don't know if I was sitting here. I don't know, something I'm doing here. It's not, my neck is not liking. So I'm gonna go. I know this was probably longer than what I intended it to be, and I hope I like the video and to decide to keep it up. I just wanted this to be a sun spa day and just to drop some gems on to you about what I'm doing. Focusing on the sixth house. A lot of you probably are going to be needing to do that or have been doing that as well. So hit me up in the chat and let me know what you're doing to maintain your health or to improve your health, but how you're thanking your body. These are things too. These things that we're doing is a way to also thank our body, but we need to verbally thank our bodies, okay? Because we won't be doing any of the things that we are doing on the daily without the cooperation of our beautiful temples, our bodies, okay? So, mwah, mwah, mwah. Sending so much love to you, peace and blessings, and have a beautiful Sunday. Bye bye.